Discovering books is obviously one of the great pleasures of reading. Most of the time, when we discover something, it is obviously completely new to us. It's a recommendation, or we stumble upon it in a bookshop, or we're kind of orientated to it on a kind of, if you like this, you'll like that kind of thing. But actually, I think one of the great moments of discovery is when a book that we actually feel prejudice against for some reason um, turns out to be something that we really love deeply and feel as though it is some kind of it would have been a great omission, great absence in our life had we not found it and read it. And um, and this novel is that it is Ken Kesey's "Sometime a Great Notion," um, and it was recommended to me by very good friends of mine, Valerie and Brian, when I was staying with them in Portland, Oregon. It is set in Oregon. Now, the reason I'm prejudiced against it is that it's by Ken Kesey. Now, prejudice is probably a slightly strong word. But it's the correct word in the sense that I was sort of prejudging. I prejudged Ken Kesey. I judge him as the novelist of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, um, and very much part of a particular 1960s movement, sort of post-beat, kind of merry pranksters, a sort of a kind of something that I feel has a movement that has dated, um, that wasn't particularly significant. Um, and so the idea of picking up a Ken Kesey book to me, I just would never have done it. But when I was in Portland, Oregon, um, Valerie said that it was Brian's favourite novel when she met him, and I just kind of felt when I was in Pal's bookshop and I saw it, I thought I would buy it, and I wonder whether I was just buying it almost out of politeness at the time, um, because there was those kind of filters saying, do you really want to read a what's Ken Kesey got that you're not finding elsewhere, um, and then I had I got through the books I was wanting to read, and it was next on the pile, and I started reading it. Um, and it is extraordinary. Um, from the opening pages, its kind of literary richness and heritage runs very deep. You feel, I think, at first it feels very like Faulkner. It's very Whitman-esque. It has the kind of mythology of Faulkner, but it has the richness of language, I think, which feels like D.H. Lawrence. Um, the fact that I haven't seen it come up as the great American novel is astonishing. I mean, I cannot think of another American novel that has this breadth and depth of experience. Valerie describes it as Shakespearean. It says on the back it's like Greek tragedy. Um, it's both of those. There is enormous amounts of internal monologue, and the setup feels very Greek. Um, I think it's also a kind of free flowing modernist novel. I mean, it switches from first person to third person, from character to character, often within paragraphs, but it does it with such ease, um, and effortless control that all the difficulties that sometimes might have, that might be changing from point of view to point of view, and actually sort of shifting in time from the 40s through to the 60s, essentially set in the early 1960s. That isn't an issue because it is a novel of just extraordinary energy and verve and the he. I mean, it appears that he wrote it within 2 years. I just don't know how that's possible. I mean, it's 600 odd densely packed pages, but it feels that the world is there. And someone once said about something, the whole world is in it, and I can't remember who said it or what it was about. And one imagines it's Dickens or Shakespeare or the Bible or whatever. But it feels to me that even though this is a small logging community on the banks of a river in rural Oregon, that the whole world is here in this book. It's primarily about two brothers, one who is just extraordinarily able and masculine and instinctual and tough and clear-headed and bloody-minded, and then there is a sort of bookish, delicate, thoughtful, but still in his own way determined younger brother, different mother, same father, a kind of great patriarch. But it's that's the story, but everything else comes from that story, and the genius is in the originality of the telling, and certainly the originality of the setting. I mean, it seems to me that the house that they all live in, which is this sort of palimpsest of a building that's built on the side of a river, of an encroaching river, but the house somehow won't give in to the sort of imperial nature of this elemental nature of this river, is extraordinary, and therefore I think. I mean, this is almost a really annoying and kind of pathetic thing to say, but why this hasn't become a film, given the success of Cuckoo's Nest, is extraordinary, because it has so many strong parts and one of the most extraordinary settings, this house on this river. But anyway, I mean, I think if one wants a tumultuous, rambunctious, sort of, the fullness of life novel, which has some of the most wonderful prose in American fiction, that is, deeply embedded in the American literary tradition, but does something of complete uniqueness in its formal qualities, and form sort of it presupposes kind of structure and orthodoxy, and kind of straight lines, I guess. This doesn't have it. This it feels it has the kind of vitality and meander and wendingness of a river, while somehow has the control of a great writerly intelligence. That's a really tough thing to do, to give a novel the sense that it has a organic quality, an elementalness of nature, but not make it feel as though the writer has no control of what he's doing. And I think that, and it's only just kind of occurred to me now, that's the specialness of this book, the uniqueness of the book, and why it actually needs to be read along with, if one's going to look at the great American novels of the 20th century, this absolutely should be in it. And as far as I'm concerned, up for first place. Um, and right now, whether it's Faulkner or Bellow or DeLillo or Roth, I don't know. I can't, I can't think. And certainly, Steinbeck, uh, Thomas Pynchon. I can't think of a novel that uh, that deserves Great American Novel more than this. So yeah, just so you know, Sometimes a Great Notion by Ken Kesey. I check it out. Thank you. Bye bye.